Just got a lot on my plate right now, and I really don't feel like defending my kids again.
Tony, I'm not asking you to defend your kids, right? I understand that I was being a little insensitive and I could be more understanding. And I'm sure that this has been a quick transition for you.
All right, Sistas fans. Now, I got to say, this last episode did something very, very unique. Something that I don't think we've ever seen before. And that's one of the ladies blowing up at somebody. Okay, maybe that's not uncommon in this show, but the thing is, later on in the same episode, not only did this particular character take accountability for her emotions, but sat down with the person they blew up at, explained why they did what they did, that they were wrong, and they want to move forward in a better light. Daniela was the standout character of the episode because earlier when Tony went to see her at her station at work, which is kind of odd that for once there is a long line of people, but Tony opted to make this a personal conversation at this point in time. He pretty much stepped to her about the whole situation with the kids. Danny was completely unreasonable in how she was talking to Tony about the kids. And he tried to explain, and keep in mind, remember, he told her, I believe in the last episode, last week when the kids had left the office, like, look, I wanted to take you out to lunch today and explain to you the update on my kids and how they're going to be staying with me this summer rather than you just finding out the way you did. Now, keep in mind, Danny said she called out of work for some random excuse about it being some sort of holiday or whatever, and then to go to the birthday brunch for Sabrina that lasted all but like 5 minutes. And then she gets back to work. She sneaks into Tony's office to get, sexual with him. Then the kids burst in and find her half naked. So later on, we find out she was honestly blowing up at Tony because she was really embarrassed because her first impression with Tony's kids was not a favorable one. So Tony tries to explain, look, my ex-wife is in the military and then she got called into active duty, so I needed to step up. And she wasn't hearing any of this. It was pretty much, all about her, how she felt about this. And I'm like, Danny, this is really selfish and insensitive. Now, there are people who are like, well, come on, Jeremy. When people are called into active duty, they're given time. So I feel like the time that his ex-wife was given to, get her affairs in order and whatnot, Tony could have said something earlier. Well, then again, when you think, and this is just my personal example, two things. Number one, Tyler Perry's universe does not always line up with reality in terms of how things are handled. Number two, back in season 5, when Miss Lisa was at the salon and Karen was trying to get rid of her by getting Andy and the other girls to vouch for her, saying, oh, don't worry about Karen. We'll all take shifts taking care of her to make sure she stays off her feet and she's not stressed and whatnot. And that will be their way of getting rid of Miss Lisa. Miss Lisa receives a phone call about the, dang it, what is it called? I worked at Liberty University's call center for online students, and we did work with military students. I forgot what it was called, but it was like the military's financial assistant for college students. Was it PA or something? I forgot the terminology. It's been, please bear with me. It's been, how long? Going on, it's been over 6 years since I quit the job, so I forgot. DA, was it DA? Basically, military office or whatever. So Miss Lisa got the call, and she's like, "Oop, I gotta go back to work," because remember she had taken time off to take care of her daughter, so she got the call and got posted back at work. Now, obviously, she's not active duty, but you see what I'm going with here, right? That in Tyler Perry's universe of Sisters, a person who's involved in the military or armed forces can get a call and boom, they got to go on the spot. So maybe his ex-wife had to do something similar. Not to mention, they're his kids, so he was going to take care of them regardless. And it's almost like Danny was all about him being an absentee father. It's like, yeah, you told me you had 2 kids. You never lied about that. But you never told me that they would be staying with you. As in, she honestly thought that Tony was a deadbeat. Like he had an ex-wife. He had 2 kids from his marriage. And these kids aren't even a part of his life at all. But no, that's not the case at all, Danny. Yeah, you were caught off guard. Yeah, it was embarrassing, but she was being completely unreasonable. But then she turned it around when she came to Tony's office, and he pretty much said, look, I'm really busy right now, Daniela, and I don't feel like defending my kids again. But Danny pretty much came in there and explained everything. Look, My bad for what I said and how I reacted. It's just that I made a bad first impression with your kids. I had time to think about what went down. My feelings were taking over. I processed things and I wanted to talk to you about it. Let's communicate better in the future. That way, neither one of us are caught off guard. And Tony's like, oh, the therapy's really working. I like that. So this reminded me of Fatima when she started that whole processing BS back in season 5, I believe. And then that bled into Zatima. Basically, her only wanting to talk about things after she's had time to sit on it. Even if Zach wants to talk about it in the moment, it's not a conversation until she's ready to have it. But when Zach wants to, go about his business and not deal with something, Fatima wants to stop the presses, lay him out, and then not even believe him. Everything has to be done on her terms. And she never apologized. But here we have Danny having a Fatima-like moment going off. But then later in the same episode has a heart-to-heart with Tony about it. It's not like Danny didn't call Sabrina. Danny didn't talk to all of her friends about it and then talk about it in a calm way. No, she went directly to the person she blew up at and had a beef with, and she settled it right then and there. That is freaking growth, and I love to see it. So even though Danny was being unreasonable, she came around. And I hope this is consistent with her character as the season progresses, because I love seeing this growth. I really do. And yeah, most of this video might seem like a rag on Danny thing, even though she did deserve it. But I'm glad she came back around. And hopefully we get more scenes between Danny and Tony's kids. And we do know, if I'm not mistaken, we will meet Tony's ex-wife too. So that should be pretty interesting. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.